Hey, Lizards, Gizmo here. I wanted to share some of the cigars we'll be smoking in June and July, so you can smoke along with us if you'd like. For Cubans, we've got Quai Coronas Claros, Partagas Series P No. 2, Vegas Robena Unicos, San Cristobal de la Habana La Punta, and Por Laranaga Petite Corona. And for New Worlds, we've got Herrera Esteli Habano in Robusto Grande, Opus X Perfection 888, Oliva V in Churchill, and Davidoff Millennium in Pyramid, with much, much more to come. Have a suggestion? Email us, loungelizardspod@gmail.com. That's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. And now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Lounge Lizards Podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Senator, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some whiskey, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 30th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We do a deep dive on Cuba's new approach to cigar pricing. We debate Cohiba and Trinidad becoming luxury brands. And we read a listener email, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Suntory Japanese whiskey with the Quai Coronas Claro. Our first Quai on the pod tonight, the Coronas Claro, a beautiful, sharp wrapper from this marca, the first one we've done. I think all of us in this room really are loving this cigar. So I'm so glad that we're doing this as our first Quai d'Orsay. It's a little hard to find, but we'll get into that. Beautiful wrapper. It's 42 ring gauge by 5 5/8 inches. So, boys, let's cut this thing. See, we're getting on the cold draw. The Coronas Claro. This marca has an interesting history, I'll tell you.
Honestly, it's the most citrusy cold draw I think you'll ever get on any cigar. It's amazing.
Wow.
Senator.
You know, honestly, I think this cigar was made for you.
Wow.
As a guy who calls out citrus as much as you do. It's true. No, I'm serious.
It's not to get offended by that.
Why?
But that's a flavor you seek.
No, it's not bad.
I like it. This is really a unique stick. Very unique.
Definitely citrus, a little like shortbread.
Yeah.
Draw is wide open.
Yeah,
Yep.
mine's perfect.
I took the tiniest bit off the end, and it's
Same.
wide open.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same,
it's amazing.
Same. The tight in virtually not invisible seams, but very tight seams.
So this is fresh, right? 21.
Yeah, January 21.
Rooster.
And they're from the Partagas factory.
Rooster gave me my first one ever.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
from, Rooster found these.
Same.
Yep.
Turned us all onto these.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they're well regarded. So
let's light this thing, boys. The Coronas Claro by Quai d'Orsay. Once again, a 42 ring gauge by 5 5/8 inches. A cigar that originally came out in 1974 and has been a staple of the Quai d'Orsay line ever since. Not as popular, well, I shouldn't say popular, not as easy to get as the QD50 or the QD54 from Quai d'Orsay. But this cigar is beloved.
Wow.
Really beautiful flavor right off the bat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a creaminess that I didn't remember the first time I smoked this. It's like a creamsicle.
Yeah. Orange
Wow.
creamsicle.
Orange
Yeah.
creamsicle.
It's-
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
outrageous.
Wow.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean the citrus is like an orange peel, orange.
Honestly, it's almost
so
like
good.
it's like an infused cigar. It's so flavorful.
I'm deadly serious. All I'm getting is orange creamsicle, and it's
Senator,
amazing.
I'm right there with
I'm
you.
Yeah, this is
Amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
And the reason why these are so hard to find is because they only roll like once a year, maybe twice a year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Must be very expensive.
And I find that every box that I've seen is from the Partagas factory.
How much are these?
It's about 400 now a box.
Yeah. And it's about to go up. We could talk about that too.
Well, like everything else.
I think we're going to be placing a bulk order.
Oh, yes.
Master
Master
Quake.
Yeah, you know, this is one of those cigars that, and we've talked about it a little bit, like all day today, knowing we were going to do this on the pod tonight, all day today I have been thinking about smoking this cigar.
Yeah.
It is just one of those cigars that just has It's like branded my brain with.
Well, it distinguishes itself with the flavor that it has.
It's just refreshing. It's
Very different.
delicious.
Very different.
Yeah,
And it's not mild. It's like a
Medium?
like a medium.
Yeah,
you know?
medium.
Yeah.
You guys getting any spice on this? Like,
Not yet, really. No, not for me.
yet.
I'm enjoying the citrus note, the creaminess.
To me, it doesn't. It's very unique. It doesn't taste like anything in the Habanos SA catalog that I've had. Really, like, I wouldn't say it. It's very. It's differentiated.
I agree.
I think from I couldn't tell you that this tastes close to really.
Anything we know.
You're not like, oh well, this is like if this cigar, mated with this cigar and had a baby, like this is what it would taste like. It's really very. I think it's very unique.
I wonder if you would be dismissive of this comment. I would say that people who like the cigars that we've done, the El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme and the Cohiba Sigla 2, if you like them, I think you will like this.
Yes, absolutely, because it does have some of those. It has some of that, but there's a more, like for me, it's like there's a deeper, richer experience in the background that's going on. There's something I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. Maybe I'll get there, but there's something special about there's a balance, I guess, in this cigar that's unique.
I agree with you. I think it's complex, and I think for a cigar that's a year old or 2 years old, 3 years old is the oldest one I've had.
Yeah.
To deliver what it does,
Yep.
at the price point it does, it's a very special cigar.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about how there are certain Cubans that smoke really well young, and I might put this at the top.
Yeah,
I mean,
No doubt.
this
I
does
totally
not
agree.
taste like a 2021
No.
cigar.
yeah, it's crazy.
No, it doesn't, and the size is wonderful.
It is.
no, we also had the 2018s, right?
Yeah,
Do you remember any flavors like from?
I've had both.
2018?
I've had both, and they are
Honestly,
neck
though,
and neck to me.
to me, this is a bit more flavorful than the one you gave me in the past. I'm getting
Yeah.
more here.
Out of the younger one.
I am.
Yeah, I think they're very neck and neck rooster, but it also plays to the idea that the recent crop has been just very, very strong. So strong in quality, I mean, not strength.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing with the D4s that we have had, lately how
Oh,
good
yeah.
they're smoked.
Yeah, they're smoking
The
great.
Rast, the
Monty
young
twos.
Rast,
Monty twos.
Monty twos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've been very, very lucky with the recent boxes we've gotten. So K. Dorsey was founded in 1973 and was commercially available from 1974, which is when this cigar came out. And right now, they're only making 3 cigars in regular production. This cigar, the Coronas Claro. There's a number 50, which is a 50 ring gauge by 4 3/8 inches, which is a petite Robusto. And then they also make a Robusto. I guess it would be a larger Robusto, 54 ring gauge by 5 3/4 called the QD54. So we've had them all.
Yep.
We all have boxes, I think, of almost all of them. This one takes the cake for me in the market, and it's very different than the other 2 cigars.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah. Agreed.
What I found cool about this, as I was reading that this brand, obviously its name kind of leads to this understanding, but the impetus for the brand came from the French economy and finance minister in the 1970s, who proposed creating a cigar with a light flavor that could be paired well with French products like champagne and foie gras. And that's how they brought this to Cuba Tobacco in the early 70s and kind of created a French-inspired marca of Habanos.
Can you say foie gras again?
How do you pronounce it? Dude, let me tell you something. I have had such difficulty with the intro
It's
thing.
foie gras.
Dude,
Foie gras.
dude, listen, man.
Foie. Foie.
I'm
Like
having a,
foie.
I'm having,
Rhymes with Viagra.
I'm having a hell of a time with the intro thing that I'm doing with all the Spanish names on it.
Oh,
Like
you're doing great.
Por Laranaga.
That's
Por
not
la-
easy, actually.
I was sitting with 3 Spanish
Laranaga.
guys who speak, 3 guys who speak perfect Spanish. One's Dominican, one's Puerto Rican. The other day at the clubhouse, they couldn't pronounce it. Very challenging. What was it? Foie gras? Foie gras?
Foie.
No,
Foie?
the latter.
Sorry, guys. I'm embarrassing the French contingent of the Lizards. But anyway, so this has long time been a local marca. focused almost entirely on the French market, and that changed in 2005. So you really couldn't get these outside of France until 2005.
So 3 standard production, but we know of another cigar called the Ballback. Is that original?
Yeah, regional.
Yeah.
For what area?
I don't know.
I think
Rooster
Rooster
Rooster?
had them, right?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah, Rooster's a big spender.
The ball
No, I
back,
got like a $5 or something.
$1,000 for that?
it was made for Lebanon. The Ballback was made for Lebanon.
Lebanese.
That cigar, from what I haven't had one, but there was like a lot of hype around it, and then I think what I heard back was men's and men's in the cigar versus the price. Like,
Not worth the money.
Yeah, like a lot of regionals, but
Yep.
So the Coronas Claros, just another programming note on these cigars. They only come in a semi-Boit Nature box of 25 cigars. It's the only way to get them. There's no
So-
other configuration.
This was called there was a cigar called a Claro that was discontinued in 1995. And then, this came,
And then turn it into this.
Corona Claros.
Not to jump ahead, but has anyone taken a sip of this really delicious Japanese scotch?
I haven't. Let's talk about it.
I mean, I really like it. It's light, but very flavorful.
Yeah. Now, Grinder's not here, but I'll be the Scotch police for
There you
him.
go.
We can't call it a Scotch. It's
Oh,
not from Scotland.
it's a whiskey.
It's
Oh.
Japanese whiskey.
Whiskey.
Japanese whiskey, okay. So
Rooster, you would like this.
Is it like the Hibiki?
I haven't had that, but it's so smooth and a little light, but very tasty.
that's really nice.
Pairs great with this cigar.
Yeah.
Your summer whiskey.
Yeah.
So what is this called again, Senator?
Suntory.
Suntory.
Suntory Japanese whiskey.
Don't they make beers too?
They might.
That's Sapporo.
Sapporo. I thought Suntory too.
I'm not sure. Love Sapporo
I
beer.
would imagine that whiskey is that whiskey hard to find.
No.
No.
It's relatively ubiquitous.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I kind of like it.
That's
I was just thinking with COVID, maybe.
I mean, the
I
funny
mean, no, before that it wasn't, but or with
No.
like the supply chain problem.
This is pretty readily available. And the funny thing is, a lot of places have it because, sort of like we were talking about, we mentioned many times, Johnny Walker Black Label. That's great mixed like with club soda. So like you'll see a lot of places like that make like a whiskey cocktail. They'll use Suntory in it. But this is the first time I'm having it neat, or I mean, we have ice with this, but with nothing else in it. And it's pretty pleasant. It has a little bite for me, but the nose is extremely floral,
Yeah.
very summery, and it's a pretty light, just nice, easygoing summer
Yes.
whiskey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think summary is a nice way to put it. I
It
think
works great on the deck.
Exactly.
You need maybe 3 chips of ice with this guy. And this cigar, man, wow.
Yeah.
In the shade, 80-degree day.
Yeah, this cigar is good.
Yeah.
I mean, take a puff of the cigar right after you take a sip of the whiskey. It really like accentuates like
That's ridiculous.
the creaminess that you get in the cigar.
I'll take credit for the pairing. I had nothing to do with it.
He was just standing there when
I was just watching you
Senator
guys.
and I grabbed it.
I was witness.
So what do you guys think about like a beer with this? Like
I think it'd be
like
really
a
good.
Blue Moon,
Blue Moon would be great
like
with
a
this.
Yeah.
wheat
Yeah.
beer with a
Yeah,
you know,
or
Yeah.
any Belgian
Slice of
beer
orange,
would
Belgian
work really
beer.
well, like a
Yeah.
Belgian triple.
Good call, Rooster. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm noticing the label's orange.
Yeah.
You know, right? Or is that yellow?
It's marketing.
It's orange.
It's like a yellowy orange. So good.
Yeah, it's a good cigar. It's very enjoyable. It's burning like razor sharp.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, as I think about where I would slot this in,
Yeah.
could you smoke these once a week? Have 1 stick a week?
If I had more of them, I'd smoke them 3 times a week.
I agree.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
would smoke this cigar a lot.
I mean, if I had boxes of this during the summer months, I'd smoke one every day.
I'd blow through them.
Yeah.
daily.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not kidding.
That's great to hear.
This
That's
is an
cool.
absolute daily driver for spring, summer outside.
I
Fantastic.
think for almost any, I mean, it's just a really solid cigar.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not a huge fan of QD, but the other ring gauges, I'm not like really bullish on those.
I agree with you. I think the 54 tastes amazing.
I like that.
I just don't love that ring gauge. I was, Senator, I think, and I were talking about it the other day at the lounge. Maybe you and I were as well. The only cigar in a 54 that really I think about a lot and kind of crave is the E2. Most of the other stuff in 54 I like, but I just don't love that ring gauge. I just wish that flavor was delivered in something closer to this. You know?
Yeah.
The 50 is good, but it's just so different than the 54 in this.
Yeah.
This is the best QD out there.
I agree.
Awesome. That's awesome. Remind me again the wrapper. That's natural.
It's a Colorado.
Colorado.
shade.
Colorado shade. Okay. Ton of
It
flavor.
has like a reddish hue to it, the wrapper.
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like Colorado Claro, but it's a Corona Claro.
Yeah, really, really nice.
And the size is so good.
It is
feels so good in
perfect.
your hand.
It's
perfect.
42 by what? 140.
5 and 5/8.
5 and 5/8. I don't know what that
Yeah.
converts to.
Yeah,
It's
it's a great
142. 42 by 142.
It's a great ring gauge.
Honestly, a delicious pairing.
Agree.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a perfect pairing.
it's excellent.
Bang, bang.
Home run.
Yeah.
Unexpected home run, actually.
You know,
Yep.
a lot of people like larger ring gauge cigars. You know, they do.
Why do you think that is?
Wow.
I think they give off a lot of combustion. And a
That's
lot
what I
of
was going to
smell.
say. Like, I reach for a Partagas, like the cigar that puts out more smoke than anything in my humidor is a Partagas E2.
Yeah.
When I've had a rough day and I just want clouds of smoke, that's exactly what I pull for that reason.
Yeah.
You know, you just turn into a chimney. You know, there's times when you're just like, I just want plumes of like crazy smoke. But this is a sophisticated cigar. Not that an E2 isn't, because it's refined, or a Carnier.
Mhm.
They're really good cigars. But this has this particular size, I think, is
It looks
it's
elegant.
very sophisticated. I like it, and that the smaller ring gauge just can deliver. Sometimes they just really deliver.
Yeah. I think you're totally
Flavor-wise.
right. I think you're totally right.
Sorry, Giz, just to go back to the whiskey for a second.
Sure.
The price point on this thing was ridiculously
Shocking.
good.
So cheap.
$40.
$40.
40
Is
bucks.
that
for
right?
$40.
Thought it was like Japanese and exotic and imported.
No, they have some. So the thing is, there's no age statement on this, but the Japanese whiskeys that do have age statements, like a lot of single malts, those get higher in price. Like Hibiki, I want to say.
I didn't realize this didn't have an age statement. I didn't catch
No.
that when we bought it.
I've like never been with someone like an individual, and they've been like, let's get some scotch, and they're like, Hibike.
You got to spend more time with Pagoda. He loves Hibiki.
Hibiki.
It's great.
So is the whiskey a blend?
Yeah, it is.
a blend.
It's a blend.
Is that
It's
why
a
they
damn
don't,
good
they don't
one.
write the
It
year
really
on
is.
I presume.
it? Right. Well, what about like Johnny Walker and stuff, like Black Label? Is there a year statement?
Yeah,
on
or that. I guess that there's an example like Johnny Walker, the Black Label. Now they put a 12-year age statement, but I guess what's in here is probably so young there's nothing really to advertise.
Yeah. Pooba's happy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think it's funny that that senator's drinking blended scotch.
I'm a man of the people. What can I say?
Uh-oh.
I mean, between the
I'm
garden.
here. I'm looking at this blended scotch and I'm about to stroke out, thinking about drinking it. This goddamn blend.
No,
Meanwhile, pleasantly surprised.
Says the guy. Says the guy sitting here with his shirt tucked in, just coming from his country club.
Touche.
fucking big shots.
So we talked about it, I think an episode or two ago. So, and Pooba wasn't here. So I know he has some pretty strong opinions on it. So Habanos announced in the last week or two that specifically they're changing the model and how they view Cohiba and Trinidad as global luxury brands. And they're going to be changing the pricing to kind of match what's going on in Hong Kong, where they're paying ridiculous prices for gray market and direct cigars. And it's going to affect everybody.
It's disgusting.
So, Pooba and I and Senator and all of us on the group chat were having a really good discussion. And Pooba had some really interesting points about it, because I'm certainly a little fearful of what it's going to do to the overall market. The rest of the markers are going to go up about 7%, but these are going to go up quite a bit apparently. So I'm curious what you think.
Well, I think that, it sounds to me what little information we have, because it's not like everyone has so much information. There's been these press releases or these, I don't even know, you can't tell truth from fiction, but it sounds the general consensus is that Cohiba and Trinidad are going to go up, and that's significantly. And that's probably true and possibly sustainable, because it's almost like if you think about like high-end real estate, and when there's in a weird real estate market, sometimes the high-end stuff like holds.
It stays.
People are paying cash if they can afford it, because they give zero fucks. They have money. So I'm getting to something.
Yeah.
But so what I'm questioning or wondering about or curious about when this plays out is a couple of things. One, okay, let's say hypothetically these prices are going up because you see sellers and retailers, like they're raising prices, like as if the stock that they have has already been up, like has already been, they're like ahead of the inventory that they haven't even bought at the higher price yet. So that's a whole other scam,
Absolutely.
A little gouge thing that's going on. And that doesn't create the best goodwill for anybody doing business. That's one. And the second thing is due to the taxes in Europe, and it's not just London and the UK,
Spain, right?
Spain.
Yeah.
These are semi-socialist countries. I'm not getting political, but they just are. That the taxes are much higher. I mean, if you're going to go off and live in, Norway or like Sweden, like you're definitely paying a lot of tax on everything, and that includes tobacco. So, what's the market gonna? Is the demand? My thing I'm curious about, and I'll put it to the group is, will a Brit in that market pay more than $37, $38, $39, $40 for a Partagas Robusto? Is there a market for that? Is there? I don't, maybe Habanos say knows something that, everybody else doesn't know. But to me, with inflation and people with having less money in their pocket, everybody, that's the question I put to the group. Will this materialize in some of the more standard production stuff? I just don't know. Or is this just hyperbolic?
What I mean? My opinion is that Habanos is being incredibly reactionary to what has happened, with COVID and with demand and with their manufacturing issues. I feel that this is more reactive than a really intelligent, finance marketing play by them to adjust to the current circumstances.
Agreed.
And I think it's going to catch up in a couple of years.
And the other thing that I find interesting, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Habanos SA's distribution model. However, I would imagine that Pacific Cigar and H&F certainly it's not like they certainly get volume discounts. It's not like, well, we're raising the price. Well, that means we're raising it at the same exact rate as every distributor, as every regional distributor is getting the price raised on them exactly. Well, if I come to Hunters and Frankow, or if I'm a regional distributor, it's not like they can distribute every single cigar throughout the entire two distributors throughout the entire world single-handedly. It has to go touch a lot of different hands. So I'm going to now, Habanos SK can just predict, everyone can just predict what the end user price is going to be not based on how many hands it touches to get to the end user. I don't buy that. In other words, I don't buy that this is just an arbitrary price hike and Habanos SA is just going to charge the distributors this, and they have no negotiating power whatsoever. Bullshit. And does regional distributors have no negotiating power? Bullshit. Do big retailers have no negotiating power with their distributors? Bullshit. So I just think that it's not this black and white, like this is going up this percent, and everything's going to trickle down. I could be wrong, about all this, and maybe it's just, you're dealing with a communist country and they're just going to raise the price and it's arbitrary and it's going to be what it's going to be and they can just say fuck you to the world. I mean, I don't know.
So I'll say this. Here are my thoughts. Yes, they can raise the price arbitrarily and in the short term find people who will pay it. And I say that because, like, Gizmo, you describe what they're doing as this is now a luxury product. They're sort of trying to build the pricing model around that. Obviously, as a person who is a watch collector and loves watches, that model around luxury goods is such that every year they come up with a percentage increase. It is completely arbitrary, right? There doesn't need to be COVID for them to say all of a sudden we're going to increase it 9%. It's whatever they think the consumer is willing to pay. Now, what I worry with cigars versus what I would truly consider a luxury product, like a high-end watch or a high-end handbag for women or some of these other things that retain value and are not consumable products that, like, you smoke this cigar, poof, it's gone. Right. Like you wear that watch or, a woman wears that handbag and it exists 10, 50 years from when you bought it.
Yeah.
And it's still worth a lot of money.
A Louis Vuitton handbag doesn't go out of style. You can pass it down.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
right. Yep.
And so what I worry with cigars is in the short term, sure, are there people in London, Hong Kong, New York, LA that will pay whatever ridiculous price for some of these cigars? No doubt about it. But what I worry about is long term with pricing so ridiculous. I mean, you describing like $40 for a D4. Is that going to continue to capture younger, and I mean younger, not by children, right? I mean younger by like folks in their, late 20s, 30s who are getting into cigars, or early 20s even, who want to enjoy this product, but at that price point are going to say, well, forget that. I'm not going to spend $40 every time. And so I worry, while the demand right now is so hot, when all of us age out of that market,
That's
right?
right.
When we're not here,
Fantastic point.
I hope that there'll be that next generation that's going to say, like, this is a really intriguing hobby and product that I'm really passionate about. But if the price point is set too high, when people don't have that level of disposable income early in their life,
They may be
I
killing.
worry that they will
They're going to kill their
lose.
own market.
Exactly.
They're
So
killing
that's-
their own market.
That's my take. I worry about the long-term
Right,
implication.
right.
I think short-term, they know they can get away with it and they'll obviously make more money. There's no doubt there. But I do worry about the long-term impact that could have on demand in the industry.
But here's a question. In the luxury world, so what you're wearing on your wrist, the less they make of that reduces the distribution. And of course, the value goes up because they're not as available. This is a little different. Do you see, any of you, do you foresee a reduction in production to increase the cost of these cigars?
There has been there has been a decrease in production simply because there's been a brain drain of
rollers
and
and talent.
Like
Yeah.
I saw a picture from last week at the Partagas factory, the right wing rolling room.
See,
Half of the chairs are empty and sitting up
Yeah.
on the desk. I can show you the picture. It's crazy. It was from last week.
Now, it's awful. I see that as more of a legitimate reason to raise your prices than just arbitrarily raising them because a lot of guys in Hong Kong are buying cigars.
Right. But
It's
they're
fucking
clearly
ridiculous.
set themselves up to arbitrarily continue to do this by saying we're now viewing this as a luxury good. That's the luxury good model. And it works because if you're buying a $10,000 Rolex and next year it's $11,000, well, I have news for you. Either way, that watch is going to be handed down for the next 3 generations plus of your life, of your future family. So they can get away with that because it's very easy to rationalize paying an additional $1,000 for something that's going to last for 100 years. But with a cigar, I do not think it's the same boat. Right?
Agreed.
This is a product that is consumed and
Totally
gone
agreed.
It's
when you're done
consumed
with
and
it.
it's gone. And
Yeah.
$40 a stick is a lot of money. And in a market, in some of the like London's not a smoke friendly place.
Yeah.
So that market, I mean, it's hard to find places to smoke there. I mean,
No.
you could smoke in a shop as tasting a cigar in a shop, but like the men's clubs and all those gentlemen clubs have made it illegal.
Well, the only thing I will say in London, so where they've gotten really clever, I mean, there's still a very strong cigar culture in London. I've spent a good amount of time there. What all these places do now, they build sort of like we now, because of COVID experience, everywhere got these outdoor tents. The restaurants had to do that for outdoor dining, even though you were in like an enclosed tent. So what they do in London is all these restaurants and even hotels, a hotel I used to stay at all the time there, right off the lobby, they have a bar. You then walk out on this little patio and it is fully enclosed in a tent with heaters, and you can smoke cigars there.
Cool.
And you can even buy cigars from the hotel to
'Cause it's
smoke there.
outdoors.
So they get around that rule by all having these outdoor, technically tented structures that are, for all intents and purposes, really indoors, heated, and you can smoke. So they have found, at least thankfully, clever ways around it.
It's pretty
And,
cool.
and look at our neighbor to the north. You talk about taxes and
Canada.
you know,
Well, that's their own problem.
I mean, they have a major tax problem.
Yeah.
You know, and they also cover the bands up with generic bands. So this, if you were to buy this Coronas Claro that we're smoking now, it would come with it like an army green band on it with a very plain font that said K Dorsey Coronas Claro Cuba, and they are not allowed to sell them with any sort of fancy band. And you know, obviously they cover them up, but a price of a D4 in Canada is probably $40-$50 because of tax.
Wow.
I
Very-
believe
very
it.
high
I mean,
taxes.
even alcohol there is outrageous.
Horrible.
You want to buy just like a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, it's like $90. Wow. It's
I will-
ridiculous.
That's insane.
That's
I will
crazy.
not be moving to Canada ever.
So as the prices go up, I think we might have to smoke like instead of 6, like only 4 a day.
That's a problem.
That's a big problem.
It's cold as shit up there in Canada.
That's true.
Not moving to Canada. Fuck that.
No way.
Fuck that.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. with
I want
Coronas.
one last question on this topic, and we can move on. So, what is actually happening in Hong Kong? I'm not really aware. What's the specific?
It's been a land grab, kind of like it was for wine 15, 20 years ago.
Guys
Now-
are hoarding cigars.
Now they are into single malt scotch and cigars.
Yeah, the thing to understand about Hong Kong, very simply, 'cause I have family ties to that part of the world. There are more billionaires per capita in Hong Kong than anywhere in the world. Period. So you just think about luxury
lot
goods.
more disposable income.
Exactly.
Yep.
Cigars, wine, single malt scotch.
Yeah.
And they hoard it.
And at that level, you don't care what you're
It's
spending.
just a big dick
right?
swinging contest. You know, they're buying, Macallan, these crazy bottles of Macallan go up for
Yeah.
auction. Almost every one of them is going to Hong Kong.
Absurd.
It's
Yeah,
It's
and
just-
listen, let's face it, the culture too, the business people, from what I understand, party balls.
yeah.
like
Major
they,
excess.
like they definitely if they're not like Elon Musk, like hanging out, smoking a spliff on his, I don't know, one of his friends' apartments that he crashes at. It's very odd. I don't have a house.
He
It's not
doesn't even
Jeff
have a house.
Bezos. Like he's not sitting on his deck smoking a 54 ring gauge. E2. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but these guys in Hong Kong, I mean, dude, these guys are ballers, bro. Like, they're like crazy ballers. Like, there's definitely a culture of like let's break open wine and like do all this stuff. Like, they go for it.
Do they have 8 balls there?
I don't know. I would imagine isn't well, no, I guess that stuff's made in Mexico. Well, that's in South America. I don't know. Probably not. Was it the Orient is known for the other
Opium.
drugs?
Opium.
The opium. Right?
The opium
the
trade.
triangle. What was that called? Like, remember like all the Rambo movies? What was the heroin triangle? Come on, chime in.
The triad.
Come on,
Yeah, Rooster,
Rooster.
you know.
More drugs come from Canada than Mexico
Oh, really?
or Colombia.
Are they? Do they tax 8 balls up there?
Oh, Jesus. 8 balls. 8 balls. What is this, 1987? Fucking less than zero over here in the corner.
All right, move it along,
Oh,
Kuba.
God.
Oh, wait. So Habanos SA raises their prices every year, right?
Yeah, about 6 to 7%.
7%.
Yeah.
Just across the board.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, that's pretty normal. So that on most of the markers, that's what you're going to see. On Cohiba, Trinidad, the Linea line, we did that cigar from Monte Cristo, and there was one other.
They raise their prices 6 to 7% every year.
Yeah.
Right.
So great. So you know what we should all do? We should all order tons and tons and tons and tons of cigars, and then we should just hold on to them.
like we
and
haven't
as
been
they
doing
bring
that?
it- No. Well, we smoke them all, and then 6 and 7% plus with the age on them. Yeah, add a couple percentage points more, Next thing you know, you got a lot of margin. You got some kind of black market business going on.
We'll do it.
I've heard about that.
No.
I think that's better than a laundromat business.
But I just going back to that. This is one of the things that frustrates me. You know, Giz, you'll obviously see on these forums people posting about price increases and all this stuff, and demand is, you know, through the roof, and the supply can't keep up. And like for me, all of it is just like there should be no panic about this stuff. They raise prices every year. 90-something% of the cigars, the Cuban cigars that we smoke, it's just a normal price increase. The only thing that's gone insane is Cohiba and Trinidad. And Cohiba, I'm sorry, everyone knows this. Like, I could care less if those cigars become $1,000 a stick. It doesn't impact me. I don't have a single box of Cohibas in my humidor.
You and a lot of people.
Right.
But what I look at is, what if Partagas is next? You know,
well, then I'll be fucking rioting in Cuba in support of the Cuban people, my friend.
Senator's going to have a headband on and shit.
He'll be wearing a wife beater with a baseball bat in his hand.
With a machete in the other hand. I mean, I'm ready to go to war.
And why Trinidad?
Yeah.
That is a really good question. Because Trinidad is not. I think that's I don't know if they call it
I think this is
a
very
provincial.
easy, the answer to this.
It's a luxury.
This is very easy. I mean, if you just think of the Cuban marcas, right? Like Trinidad and Cohiba were like the Castro, like diplomatic,
stuff.
highly regarded brands. And the pricing for them, even before this crazy increase, reflects exactly that. I mean, if you look at what you pay for almost any Trinidad, it's way more than you would pay for any
honestly,
other.
even the Colonialists are they're pricey cigars for the shape that you're getting.
Right.
Yeah. But like,
And
I'm
the
not
Vitola.
paying a premium price for a Vizia.
No.
Don't love it. Like, they've been just sitting in my humidor. Like, those aren't that great.
Bin.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll bin those, and I want Colonialis all day long.
I wonder what a.
You
I
like the
wonder what
vision?
a.
I like it. I don't love it. I like it. I love the Colonialis.
I like the Vigias. I like the Media Luna.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I'm sad about is just the Fundadores is going to go up to a ridiculous price.
Yeah,
it's probably
the
gonna be
only
15,
thing.
Already
1800s.
is.
Yeah.
Already is.
It's unbelievable. They're hard to get anyway.
They were 900 before this was announced, so I think after they're probably gonna be 15 to 1800 a box.
Oh, forget it.
Which I'd rather smoke Lucy's.
But I love the Cohiba price increase. And in fact, Puba, the other day when we were at the lounge, you were talking about through some of our networks of collectors that we associate with, the one guy who's a really crazy collector. Do you remember the other day you mentioned a specific guy?
Yeah.
He actually posted on one of the things that we're part of that he could care less that the price of Cohiba went up, that he doesn't have any Cohibas in his humidor.
Yeah.
This guy's got an outrageous collection.
Oh, he has an
of what you
outrageous
described.
collection. Yeah, that guy has an outrageous collection.
Nice.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. He's more from the person we're talking about, not to go to, but he leans towards our world
Right.
a little bit
Partagas,
more.
Upman.
Yeah.
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 I'm just glad this announcement was not specific to either of any of the markers that we're really in love with.
Yeah. Like I said,
know?
I'd be on the next plane.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
In support of the Cuban
You know,
people.
but I will say, I mean, I know we're in this vortex now, but I mean, I will say, like, there's certain stuff, like, you know, like the Lucy's were not easy to come by for a long, long time. You know, 898 boxes aren't easy to cut. There's a lot of stuff that just is not easy to come by. I mean,
But it's all reasonably priced.
yes,
Yeah, you
If
can
you
still get a
can find
Lucy for
them-
$24, $20 to $24 a stick.
And
That's
a
reasonable.
Double
Yeah.
Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
worth
hours of
less
smoke.
in
Worth
price
every
than
dollar.
like,
Yeah.
most Davidoff Churchills.
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
But those are vulnerable to stuff because the leaf that they use, they pop up and they go away. Sometimes they go away for decent periods of time where you can't really find them. So I'm just saying, it's not a layup all the time, you know?
All right, boys, we're into the second half of the K. Dorsey Coronas Claros. What's everybody think about this thing?
I'm in love.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flavor hasn't changed
No.
much,
It's
right?
consistent.
No, it's
Not the same,
consistent,
but it's
Yeah.
which I like because I love the flavor.
Absolutely.
I'm still trying to figure out an answer to what Puba said when we kind of first got into it. You know, what is so special about it? The complexity. Like, I can't figure out what it is.
Mm.
Is it that it's kind of hitting the several areas of your tongue and your mouth with various flavors? The delivery is so smooth. Like,
I'll take a stab.
yeah, take a stab at
I
it.
mean, for me, it's that it starts out with a lot of citrus, maybe a little floral, And as you smoke further along, like I get a little bit of nuttiness almost with this cigar. And there's like a creaminess that just ties it all together. And to me, it takes a very refined smoke to be able to do that, where all the flavors just marry so perfectly. And I think this cigar has done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
At a year of age.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when we smoked the Sigla 2, go back to Cohiba for a second. When we smoked that cigar, that was a cigar that was 3 years old. And we were all saying, you know what, maybe with some more time, it'll even smooth out more. You know, and what do you need, 5, 6 years, 7 years to smoke a Cohiba and really say, wow, it's in its sweet spot? That to me is not a luxury product when they're selling it at a year old.
That's right.
Or 6 months old.
That's right.
Bingo.
You know, and you're going to pay what for that box that I got for $425? You're going to pay $1,200 now. That's crazy.
That's
Crazy.
It's a head shaker, man.
That's crazy. I'll tell you, they better make sure their quality control is tip top.
Yeah.
They're going to call it a Rolex.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll be smoking Philly blunts soon.
Speak for yourself, Bam.
Hey, Bam, before the next pod, can you go to 7-Eleven and get us some cigars?
I'll get the blueberry ones.
Perfect.
You know, and let's see, who knows? There's a lot of propaganda that comes out of Cuba and the Cuban government's mouth, and you know, they could just be like, fuck it, we're just going to try this, and if it doesn't work, we'll just make adjustments and not tell anybody. Like they can do whatever, you know, they're in complete control of the whole catalog. So it's just like,
But you know, once the cigar prices go up, they're not coming back down.
No.
I mean, once they raise the prices on Cohiba boxes, I mean, that's going to be it.
That is true for every single luxury good,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of people, because obviously I love the watch community, and people say, oh my gosh, the price of watches have gone through the roof. It's going to come down, right? No,
It's not.
It's never coming down.
Yeah.
yeah, because the secondary market is just going to, people are just going to white knuckle it.
Yep.
You know, so
Supply has a lot to do with that. So when you limit supply, those values retain. They stay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now with cigars, they're going to continue to produce volume.
But
Will
what-
people
but,
stop?
what-
What happens when people stop buying Cohibas or they see a reduction in sales and they're continuing to produce that volume? That luxury cost has to come down. Otherwise, they're going to sit on the shelf.
Well, they might reduce production.
Oh, yeah.
Or all the Cohibas will be in Hong Kong.
Right.
yeah, it's interesting because, you know, the economics of, you know, what's happening in the economy. I mean, you could arguably say, like, you know, the mid-market customer, maybe fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're saying, hey, look, we see where the economy's going. Yeah, there's inflation. I mean, maybe they're thinking about it in a way like, fuck the mid-market customer. We're going to go after the high-end customer, the people who actually have the money, and raise the price. And we'll just, you know, it's not, you know, maybe it's not a terrible strategy, you know, because the upper, call it 10% of, you know, people in terms of wealth, just let's call it, you know, across the oceans, right? They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't care.
You're right. You're right.
They're not going to really care. So, like, you know, do I think that they've done all this? Like, you know, I don't see the Cuban government doing like extensive market research on the topic, but like, it is like they're one of their biggest exports.
I hear they do a lot of good market research in the jails in Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you know, so who knows? I mean, you know what it is when you're in that much control and you have that much monopoly over something, you can kind of just experiment and do whatever you want and see what happens, and you can just course correct, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like anyone can make what they make; they just can't.
And you know who I think this actually helps really well, which is unfortunate, is I think it really helps the counterfeiters. You know, the counterfeiters, I think, are really going to benefit from this, not only in the ability to charge more, but in the fact that people are going to be dying to get their hands on these cigars at any sort of
Yeah. And if they drop their
Reasonable
price
price.
a bit, they'll go
just
for
a
it.
little, just a little bit.
That's awful.
They're getting better with the bands. They're getting better with the rolls. They're getting better with the boxes and the codes. I mean, Habanos, you know,
This is
hasn't done enough to prevent that. And I think this is only going to increase the counterfeit market.
This whole thing is just negative. It's not good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You know, but on the flip side, everything in general is more expensive. Fuel is more expensive. Food is more expensive. Construction materials are expensive. Services are expensive. Doesn't something have to give?
But don't you think
Does everything just continue to go up and up and up?
Temporary, I think.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
all
know
the
about that.
Construction costs and all of that.
Oh, I
think
that.
it's gonna
It
come down.
fluctuates. It does fluctuate.
come
No, I
down.
mean, in fairness, right? Like that is how inflation works. Like it is always temporary in the sense
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
there's like a period
yes,
of like
at some
tremendous
point.
pain,
Yeah.
and then like you have the Fed take action, like that. You know, this is how it's all cyclical. in
It
that
is,
sense.
but
That's
it
true.
lasted a hell of a long time
Yeah.
from Nixon through Carter. It wasn't over.
No.
It was years and years and years and years. So, the end may, because it will. I mean, it is cyclical. That's the way the economy works. It reaches a pinnacle and then it just collapses on itself. So, but sometimes that can take
A while.
a while. If history says anything, it's that article in the Wall Street Journal that was over the weekend was like, yeah, this is like a mirror image of, Nixon, Carter, and like it started under Nixon and it just continued under Carter and it was just brutal. And it even trickled over into Reagan, into the Reagan administration. And then it kind of started to correct a little bit, but it took a long time.
Do you remember the interest rates
big
during
arc.
Reagan era?
16%.
Yeah. When we bought our house, we paid 16%.
Yep. I heard about that.
I cannot even imagine.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
I got my car. I got my
16%.
car during COVID for 0.0 for the entire term. They were so desperate to move cars.
By the way,
during COVID,
That's another That's another challenge.
For the listener, Dodge, I saw a commercial the other day. You probably need like an 800 credit score to get this. But Dodge Ram, like the pickup. Dodge Ram, the pickup.
yeah,
0% financing for 72 months.
that's what I got 2 years ago. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, they're pushing this commercial,
Why are they offering that now? The demand for cars is outrageous.
Maybe the demand
Well-
for their cars isn't. I don't
Well,
know.
honestly-
they make a really good product.
They make a
now.
great truck.
They make a really good one. You go back 10 years, not so much. Now they make a really good product. Like
They're-
really good product.
I think it's an interesting strategy because most of the pickups on the road are Chevy and Ford.
Yeah,
And they
F-150 is
control the market.
That's the thing.
Dodge, they don't have such a big market share. So when they offer financing rates like this that are so
Competitive.
attractive, absolutely, people are going to go to that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but just wait till the Tesla truck comes out. It's going to take over.
That's right.
Cyber truck.
Yeah,
Listen, anything Musk touches he's like Midas.
absolutely.
This guy is.
That's
I
right.
believe in anything. He sees around corners. The guy's up at night looking at a lava lamp, doing fucking math, and figuring out how to put shit into space. I mean, come on, dude.
Microdosing LSD.
He's like, he's microdosing
Yeah.
LSD and like he's crazy, dude.
He needs to get into cigars. Musk.
Yeah.
He'd buy them all. He'd go and buy
No,
all
we
the
need him
master
to produce
crates. He'd say this is unfair, and he'd go and he'd send a ship to Cuba and buy everything at 2x, and then sell it for for half the price he bought it for to democratize cigars. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's what Musk needs to do.
we need to get on his radar.
Get in with that guy. We got to talk to Amber Heard.
Yeah,
She
was
dated
connected.
him, Johnny Depp's.
Oof.
so it's funny. Elon is connected to everything. He's got the cars. He's got SpaceX. He's kind of owns NASA now.
And the
It's all the
Johnny Depp-
contract.
and the
He-
Johnny
Depp trial. Twitter. He just bought Twitter.
Just bought Twitter.
I mean, he's in everything.
He's in everything. It's like this Johnny Depp trial's on him. It's
Starlink.
like-
He's the reason that Ukrainians are able to communicate with the world is because he gave them internet access via Starlink.
and he doesn't own a
Wow.
house.
He doesn't own a house.
He like couch surfs.
Yeah, he lives with his friends or something.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna start couch surfing, doing
If
math.
Partagas prices increase, we're all going to
Yeah,
be
we're
couch
gonna
we
be
are.
couch surfing.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh.
I'm about to sell all my possessions and just like, move to South America, disappear.
Sounds wonderful.
It does.
It sounds so nice. I had a friend that moved to
God.
Panama. Actually, retired at 52. Him and his wife moved to Panama. Never came back to the U.S. Just gone.
Wow. Wow.
Living.
Something's going on in Panama because Pagoda's always talking about us doing a lizard trip to Panama.
Ooh.
I would love to do that. I've never been there.
Bam Bam's sister's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This old girlfriend I used to go
She
out
loved
with, we went to Panama. She was staying in a bungalow and with some other guy that she used to date before me, and she got like beat up. They got like beat up with like clubs and shit and robbed.
Yeah. It happens.
Jeez, shit happens down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go there.
We'll see you tomorrow in Cuba.
That's for today.
So this cigar is picking up in strength for me a little bit,
A bit.
It is.
in a really nice way.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's picking
That's
up just
awesome.
a little bit, heating up.
It's a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, this is. I don't know, man. This is at the top of the pyramid for me as far as great Cubans
Yeah.
that are in regular production. This is really, really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great-
so
great
so it is a great stick. So at this point in the cigar, compared to the 18 that I had the other day, this is where you start to just really see the difference. There's, to me, but in comparison, if you compare and contrast these, I can taste some a little bit rougher edges coming down the stretch here, but nothing that's like off-putting. It's just a little more. It just, the 18 was more rounded out.
I feel the exact opposite, I'll say. I am creamy and the citrus and a bit of floral, and that's picking up for me, but it's still so smooth.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with Bam on this. I think the flavors are still consistent. I'm not getting many rough edges, and I like that it's picked up in strength.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know if it's its youth or what the case is, but it's picked up in strength in a nice way, not an aggressive way.
Right.
And I say I like that because when you have the first third of this cigar, my fear the first time I had it, and now I think this is probably only my second time having this cigar, was that this would only slot in like the afternoon, that I would never light this up in the evening. And where this is now flavor-wise, I would absolutely smoke this in
Yeah,
the evening.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sure. It's a solid smoke.
When we all first smoked this, that was the assumption that we made. This is a good afternoon cigar. But number 2 here in our hand, it's
Because
great.
maybe that was the 2018, so it was a little bit, it had smoothed off.
Maybe,
a bit,
maybe.
Yeah, I like that. it
Still
picks up.
delicious.
Yeah,
I took that right down to the end.
yeah.
And I will this one here. Yeah, no doubt.
And still burning great.
Oh, yeah. Didn't touch it up at
Yeah,
all.
the burn's phenomenal. I haven't touched this up a single time.
No.
I was talking a lot. I touched it up once just because I was
I mean, it's
yapping,
a
but
really well constructed
Yeah,
cigar.
yeah.
really nice. So I want to go to an email chain. I've been going back and forth with a listener, Max, out of Australia, and he's a big fan of the pod. Loves what we're doing. By the way, he made it. He put a hashtag in one of the emails. Kirstie Alley needs a cheeseburger. I thought you'd appreciate that. A callback to something you said on an earlier episode. Kirstie Alley needs a cheeseburger. But he had a couple great points. One of them, he was saying, he said, I'm sure you're aware of Australia's ridiculous tobacco taxes. So we were just talking about this, and the scarcity of the premium outlets is an issue. So he says that he's smoking a lot of unbanded Nicaraguan box press cigars. I guess maybe in the line of like a Padron or something. But it seems like a lot of folks in Australia, because I've seen similar things to what Max has said here, that they're reaching for non-Cubans because it's just so cost prohibitive to get them.
It's
I
awful.
mean, I have to say, I look, I've never been to Australia, so I will not at all claim to be an expert. But I'll never forget when I lived in DC at one point, I remember I was on the rooftop of my building, and these 2 Australian guys were up there, and they were just pounding beers and having a good time. And we started chatting. I was smoking a cigar up there. And the guy said to me, he goes, the prices in this country are incredible. He's like, I just walked down to this supermarket. I bought like a 30 rack of beer. He's like, I couldn't believe I paid like $25, $30. He's like, in Australia, it's more than double. It can be even triple that. The guy just could, he
beer.
said, like walking in an American supermarket, it was like a kid on Christmas, just could not believe the prices. So I believe when he says the prices there are probably outrageous, because it seems like everything is really, really, really high.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, I mean, Friends of Habanos, retailer I love, I mean, I don't think, I would say a low percentage of their customers are actually in Australia because they send out so much because of the tax. It's just so prohibitive.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So another thing from Max. By the way, Max, thanks for writing us. And any other listener who wants to write us, the email is on the end of the episode. So please shoot us an email what you're smoking, what you want us to smoke. But he recommended a couple things to us. So we got to try the Whistle Pig 10-year.
I've had that.
Yeah, pretty good.
It's nice.
Yeah, we'll try that. And then he also put on the list Ashton Heritage Puro Soul is a New World that he's smoking. So we should put that on the list and try that.
Nice.
And then another question he had, and Senator and I actually discussed this the other day. He asked if we were going to be doing any cognac.
Oh, we were just talking about that.
I am
Yeah.
entirely supportive of this.
Yeah.
We absolutely have to do this.
Yeah.
I just say that because I think we all know like cognac is iconic with cigars.
Absolutely.
And none of us really drink cognac regularly. And my dad actually likes cognac. So I remember sometimes I'll ask, like, oh, do you want a little cognac if I'm over at my parents' place and we're having a cigar? And I have to say, it's very single malt Scotch like.
Yes, it
the
is.
flavor notes, it pairs really well. And I haven't dove into that world to be able to say I know a ton about cognac or I know exactly even what to pick beyond the big brand names that we're probably all familiar with. So I'd love for us to do a little bit of a deep dive at some point.
Yeah, he recommended Davidoff XO and Remy Martin Club were two of them that he mentioned. He also said, by the way, I'll just end this here. He said, the wife and I are off for a weekend away, so we have packed the Paul Roger and the Royal Albert glassware, as well as the full Herfador. So
Senator's impact knows no bounds.
he's democratizing champagne.
I love this.
And he said, keep up the good work, legends. So thank
Love
you,
it.
Max, for the nice email.
Great email.
And,
to
we
hear.
love hearing from
Thank you.
listeners. So please do reach out to us. It's
Yes.
very good to hear from
Thanks
you.
so much.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Roger.
Paul Roger, baby.
I wish I had more to celebrate today.
Yeah. How was your golf game? Can you celebrate the golf game?
Yeah, what'd you
You
score
know,
today? What was the score?
No, it was the conditions were beautiful weather-wise and hit a lot of good golf shots. I just didn't. They had aerated the greens, so the greens were
Puffy.
They're plugged. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just just. It's like, so it was a little bit. It's hard to judge the speed, and then it's also hard to keep the putt on line. So you've got two things working against you because it's not like you just putt it and it gets on line and you can kind of visualize how the ball's going to get to the hole. It's like you just have to jam it. It's
Yeah,
like,
it'll slow down.
It'll slow down. So
Yeah.
like if you've ever seen like the really old footage of like Jack Nicklaus putting like in the 60s or something, and you see like the ball's going, and then when it gets to the hole, it just kind of stops.
Yeah.
So if you're not used to putting on greens like that, making the adjustment early season, because all the courses are aerating.
Your
right now.
score's going up.
So you're just can't get the ball in the hole. It's not like I didn't hit it good or any of us, because it was all of us. None of us could get the ball in the hole. It's like you're putting, like literally the ball, like you're putting, and like halfway through it jumps like an inch in the air and like a centimeter to the right, and you're like, okay, I guess my birdie bid is done. I'm gonna move on and try and make this 4-footer again over the moon, like a moon face, like So that part of it is gets annoying, but yeah.
How are the cigars on the course? What'd you smoke?
What do we smoke? D4.
There you go.
But I don't. I try not to like do too much. It's distracting.
Yeah.
It's. I'm handling the cigar. I'm worried about the cigar and the cart and the going in the back and forth and putting it in the grass and picking it up or handling it. It's just.
It's too much.
It's too much. Yeah. Like I played with my brother down in Florida a couple months ago, and it was like every time I put the cigar down, in the cart, because I don't carry like an ashtray cup thing with the thick extender. Like I don't do that. I'm like, before you get in the cart, just let me pick the cigar up. Like every time, boom, the cigar just flies, recoils off the fucking drink, off where you put your drink, like down to my, I'm like, dude, like 5th time, can you just not be so focused on going to your ball and just give me 1 second before you hit the gas? So anyway, so sometimes it gets a little distracting.
All right, boys, you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on our
Yeah.
Suntory Japanese whiskey?
I like this a lot. I'd give it a 9.
Okay.
Wow.
Nine for Bam.
I'll explain later, but I really do like it. Yeah.
Senator.
This is harder for me. I'm between a 7 and 8, and I'm just trying to reconcile in my head which to give it.
Yeah, I am too.
And I think I'm going to have to give it the benefit of the doubt in that the price point is spectacular on
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
$40.
Yeah.
There are so few whiskeys at $40 that I would name and say I really enjoy.
That tastes like this.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
so I'm gonna round up and I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah.
I am in the same category, an 8. Puba.
Okay, I'm rethinking now. It's a relatively decent argument.
Don't let us influence you.
Well, I mean, it's out there. Like I have to. It's a fair point,
It's not a Monty 2.
but I'm not going to rate it that way. I'm not going to rate it that way because I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it a 7 because that's what I think it is. But yes, for the price point, you can make an argument that it hits above it, kind of hits above its pig. It punches above its weight class. I guess is what you're saying.
So the composite lizard score is an 8, flat 8 rookie score,
Wonderful score.
which I think is a fine score for the. Now, exactly to both to Puba and Senator's points, if this was a $70 bottle, I think it would be a 6 or a 7 for me. At 40, I'm absolutely. I think it's totally great price for this scotch and this whiskey, and I think it's an 8.
Sorry, I gave it a high score because I haven't had whiskey like this that tasted like this.
Yeah,
it's got a little citrus to it. It's really easy to drink. For me, the bite was minimal. I had ice in it, of course. I haven't had a whiskey like this at all, ever.
I will say though,
it's unique.
I think the attempt to pair this with this specific cigar is a reason that we're enjoying it as much as we are. I think this with a heavier New World or a heavier Cuban,
Not going to work.
I don't know if we would have rated it as high.
Probably
I
right.
think that's true, but the only caveat I would have is I just think on a hot summer day, almost anything we're smoking, we don't want like a really rich Macallan or something with just like a ton of body to it.
Good point.
So
That's fair.
on a hot day, I would take this with any cigar.
The more I think about it, I'd buy this.
Yeah.
I would too.
I'm actually thinking about it like
Yeah.
weather's turning. Like for $40, I may have to buy the scotch.
I mean, imagine sitting in your pool, lighting up one of these, and with the
With
Suntory.
this?
That's what I was just thinking about.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, for the money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a 7.
But we composite
but
8.
it punches above.
Yeah.
It's weight class.
Yeah.
A little.
I totally agree.
So
It's
nice
really
scotch.
light in color too, right?
It is.
Now that I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
I
so
was
that's-
worried.
It's not very.
I was a
viscous.
little worried about that. It looked reminiscent to a Dalwhinnie, and which is really light, not flavorful.
I mean, that's kind of typical with Japanese whiskeys. I think
That's what I was just going to say.
I
So
see.
that's the thing. Japanese whiskey, they're all lighter. Even the ones that are like 12 years aged, they're lighter. It's a very different style. That's why I'm very curious. We'll I'm sure do Hibiki on another episode.
Pagoda said he wanted to do that, so we'll do
Nice.
that when he's here.
It's a different style, but it really has a place. And why I'm really impressed with this is there are not many lighter scotches that I enjoy. I hate Dalwhinnie 15. I've said this many times. I actively hate it. I will not drink it if someone brings it. Glenmorangie 10.
It depends on how bad of a day you have.
No, I really won't.
If you walk in
really
his
won't.
house with Dalwhinnie, he's going to turn you around and
Yeah,
leave.
I've had one person bring that here once. There's a reason they're not invited back.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but the other thing I was going to say, we did Glenmorangie 10. That's another really light. It's like a pale, like straw hay colored scotch, and I know Grinder likes that, and especially during the summer. But I would drink this over any of the lighter single malts that we've rated.
100%.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yep.
It's nice. It's good pairing.
So we're coming to the end here, boys, of the Coronas Claro. What are your thoughts here before we rate this thing?
I'm down to less than a half inch.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
And
Great stick.
I want more.
Yeah, I wish I had 10 boxes of these. I
Yeah.
really do. I really do.
Well, prices are going up, so good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that.
They're hard to find.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, they go.
even at the price of
I've literally seen these go up, and 5 minutes later,
Gone.
They're
gone.
gone. They're gone.
Yeah. I mean, you used to be able to get a box of these for like $270.
Oh boy.
It's like
Oh boy.
unheard of.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Now you're looking at like, close to 4,
If not over now.
if not over. Yeah.
All right, boys, let's do our formal lizard rating on this thing. The Coronas Claro. Rooster, you're up.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9. It's
Excellent.
a really good stick.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a 9 for me. It's sophisticated, it's balanced, it's refined, and I'm shocked at how well it smokes young. I do think it gets better with age, given the one that I had, like anything else. But that notwithstanding, you can't. The construction, everything about it is a really, it's different. it's different, and it's in a really really good way. Like not in the Swash Supreme way. And then don't hate me because I'm saying that, but it's just it's just a really balanced, very very good cigar. So I appreciate you guys procuring these and sharing them, because that's what it's all about. I really enjoyed it. So it's a 9 for me. I really like the cigar.
So love the ring gauge too.
Oh, the ring
Love the
gauge.
size.
Yeah.
I mean, the size is wonderful.
Yeah, it's perfect.
There should be more better cigars in this size,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
Agree.
So I've been debating this as we've been discussing it and smoking this cigar. To me, again, I go back to my earlier comment, and I really believe it. I think this is at the top of the Cuban regular production pyramid. I just don't know what other cigars really perform at this age, at 21, a little over a year old, that are really really punching. Let's call it punching above your weight class, whatever you want to say. I think this lines up with any other great Cuban that's in regular production. So I'm giving it a 10.
My man.
Wow.
My man.
I mean, it's ripe. If again, decimals come into play, I'm in the middle of that, but it's a 10 all day for
My
me
man.
today.
Yep.
Okay, for me, it's easily a 9. I think it's an outstanding smoke. I cannot believe how much I love this cigar.
Yeah, me neither.
What I would say, the only reason that I didn't give it the 10, it's not a fault of this cigar.
What did you give it?
It's a 9.
A 9. Okay.
It's not a fault of this cigar. The reason it's not a 10 for me is for my palate. Is it like the perfect flavor profile for my palate? No. Is it an absolutely outstanding cigar and like one that I want to have frequently? Yes. So like, a 10 for me is going to be like, if I could craft my own cigar, this is going to be the flavor profile. That's the only reason. But I say that because I don't want to discount this stick. This cigar did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It just, for a 10, it's got to be perfect for my palate. But man, I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Totally agree.
9 is an elite. That's an elite score.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great score.
and I think that you're not out. This is not the point of view expressed here. It's not an outlier. These are loved by. I've never heard a negative comment about this cigar.
Totally
I've never read a negative comment like, "Oh, it's overrated. They suck. It's all hype. This is bullshit." Where you see that. There's
Even
cigars
about
that are polarizing.
Even about
This-
D4s, I've seen people say D4 is on the bottom of my list, which I don't understand.
Neither do I.
They're out.
Yeah, they're totally out.
Disavow.
But
Yeah.
I've never seen it about
But like
this
this
cigar.
isn't like a polarizing smoke like how some Cohiba Vitolas are. That's polarizing. Some some Partagas stuff can even be a little bit polarizing if you're on kind of the other end of the flavor spectrum or whatever. This cigar does not seem to be a polarizing cigar. I think that like you gift this to any, Cuban cigar lover, they're going to be like, that's cool. Like they're going to take it in hand and be like, nice.
Yeah.
Almost no matter who you are, because it plays in the middle. It's like it's got this unique thing, but it's not. It's balanced and it just does. It does nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
It just. I mean, I touched it up once only because I was talking, and you know what I mean. But that if you just keep smoking this, it burns like a razor. I mean, everything is perfect about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going 10,
All right.
and I'm going.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
I love the commentary. I'm going 10, and just to piggyback on what you said from the characteristic of being an outlier, it's an outlier from the point of view of the flavor profile. There is no cigar that I've ever had that gives me this flavor. It's very unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10.
I totally agree. So our composite lizard score on the Coronas Claro from K. Dorsey is a 9.4, boys.
Wow.
Pretty special smoke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I want to just say,
I
comment.
bet has Grinder had this yet? I mean, I think he would.
So
love
Grinder would
this
love
funny,
this.
He would
funny you
love
mention
it.
So he has. So funnily enough, after Grinder, after his baby girl arrived, and he was finally able to slip out for a smoke. I think you remember I had sent a photo of him in the lounge here at my place, and the cigar that I gave him after he had his baby was exactly this. Because
that's right.
the first time I had one from Rooster, I thought Grinder would really love this cigar. He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it. Yeah, I can, because QD is in his wheelhouse.
I bet if he was here, he'd give it a 10.
Sure.
You know, and I want to say one thing about that Senator said when he was saying why he gave it a 9 and not a 10. This to me, in every way, despite the other cigars I prefer and smoke, I guess, on a regular basis because I can get them more frequently, this really is a perfect cigar for me. It's a perfect cigar for my palate. It's interesting. It's different. It's sweet. It's got everything. So it is that for me. That is why it's a 10 for me. I would smoke this as much as I possibly could.
So let me ask you a question. So what would you do if you had a Reserva, like a Cohiba Reserva?
Like rate it wise?
Yeah,
I'd have to smoke it. I don't know.
Maybe take our clothes off. It's so good. I don't know.
have to give it an 11.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm very doubtful of that. I think I'd throw it in the lake.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Like I just don't love Cohiba flavor. So
I mean, not just Cohiba. Even there's a lot of other Reservas.
oh, if it's
like
a Partagas Reserva,
Partagas
yeah, I'll
Reserva.
be. Bam and I'll both have our clothes off.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd be chasing all of you around the room, and you'd be running for your lives.
That's a horrible visual.
It is. It is.
Horrible visual.
I'm gonna sue you for like
Trauma.
Mental anguish.
for mental anguish.
PTSD.
PTSD.
All right, boys, a 9.4 for the K. Dorsey Coronas Claro. So glad we did this tonight. What a smoke. And,
Don't buy them.
Yeah,
Don't buy
our
them.
recommendation.
They're all fake.
Yeah, you don't want them. If you do find any, send them to us. Just email me. I'll give you the address. We'll take them off your hands. No problem. All right, boys. Awesome cigar. And we'll see you next week.
Keep smoking.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.